All right, let's continue. REDNOTE surges in popularity as TikTok users seek alternatives amid potential ban.
Users are downloading another Chinese app in protest in case the wildly popular social media app TikTok is banned in the U.S. This app is called REDNOTE, and in case you didn't hear, it is the top downloaded app in the U.S. right now, which is unbelievable. It features short-form videos similar to what you see on TikTok. Some Americans, angry over the potential TikTok ban this weekend, are using the app to post videos with the hashtag TikTok refugee, which has surged in popularity. Folks in the U.S. who joined REDNOTE are being welcomed by other users. One wrote, "I am your Chinese spy." Jokingly, I suppose. TikTok's China-based parent company, ByteDance, has until this Sunday to sell off the app or face a ban here in the U.S. due to national security concerns. Ban is a bit of a stretch. Really, what's going to happen is TikTok won't be available in your app store, so you won't be able to upload it. So theoretically, it would die a slow and glitchy death.
So no new users, and then you wouldn't be able to refresh with the software fixes.
Right.
So it would just get glitchy. But like, is Instagram Reels so bad to people that they're using another Chinese app rather?
Bro, I would rather not use social media for the rest of my life than rely primarily on Instagram Reels. It's a fate worse than death. Oh, do you have a Xiaohongshu account yet? No, I do not.
That is a good point.
Why not just go?
REDNOTE might eventually face a similar fate if the government decides that it, is problematic. So
Ken also found out that not only is the TikTok ban not permanent, but as far as his reporting stands, that the government has actually made specific carve-outs for specific people to continue using TikTok freely, which I don't even understand how that would work. If TikTok is banned on January 19th and then TikTok actually shuts off its servers, okay? Yeah. If you are a government official promoting the United States of America, they still want you on there. So if you catch me on TikTok after January 19th, you already know your suspicions are correct. I am working for the C and doing pro-American propaganda. That's how desperately I want my TikTok to remain, okay? Please don't take it away from me. I would like it. I would like to continue using it. I will do pro-American propaganda.
All right, breaking news, an earthquake in the world of social media that could be even bigger than we thought. Reports that TikTok is planning to shut down its app to users in the United States this Sunday, the day a federal ban is scheduled to take effect. Now, that ban was supposed to just mean that people couldn't update their apps. This goes much further. This means that people won't even be able to get in to TikTok. This report comes from the tech site The Information. CNN's Claire Duffy is here. This is a huge deal. This is much bigger than we thought it would be and much quicker.
Yeah, I imagine there are some creators on TikTok who are really freaking out now if they weren't already. ByteDance really had three options here. The first was to shut down TikTok altogether when this ban went into effect. The next was to sell TikTok to a non-Chinese owner. They've expressed very little interest so far in doing that, although we may be hearing some negotiating happening soon. And the third option was to essentially do nothing and allow the app stores to ban it, because it was always really the app stores who were on the hook to remove the platform from their app stores.
I've been bringing up the expanded impact of the TikTok ban into the drug development terrain. The Biosecure Act was proposed by Dems last year, and it would force U.S. companies to divest or stop working with Chinese companies. This would be extremely detrimental to literally anyone on medication. It's especially detrimental when you consider that China has been on the cutting edge of novel chemical compound discovery so far, especially in this last year, where they figured out like a new chemical for dental work that like autofills, like rebuilds your teeth. Is something that I saw. There was another thing like that where they've made serious leaps in discovery in terms of Alzheimer's, combating Alzheimer's, and numerous other things. So the fact that they would try to do that. Oh, curing diabetes. That's another thing. The fact that they would shut that off is, who am I joking with? I mean, they did that with Cuba. Cuba has a lung cancer vaccine, and it's illegal for Americans to go and get it in Cuba, and people still do it illegally. Okay? So, that hasn't stopped America before.
And that's really what we expected, was that people just wouldn't be able to download the app if they got a new phone. They wouldn't be able to update it. But if you had the app on your phone, you would still be able to use it. Now, according to this new report, it sounds like people won't be able to access the app at all. If they go on there, they'll be redirected to a site explaining the ban. Creators may be able to download their data, their old videos, but they won't actually be able to access TikTok. And this may be sort of a negotiating tactic on the part of ByteDance. They obviously are going to have a lot of upset creators, and as they're trying to potentially work out a plan with the new Trump administration, that having lots of angry folks in the United States, 170 million American users, could be a leverage point for ByteDance here. We're already seeing creators move to a number of different alternative apps as people try to.
Isn't it cool that I have not seen one, not one. Normally, at least there's one. But in this circumstance, not one dissenting voice in mainstream media about this TikTok ban. Not a singular voice, dude. Maybe it's out there and I haven't seen it. But every report that I've read on the TikTok ban from every single outlet, from Fox News down to independent media, down to not independent media, but down to, local broadcasters, not a single one of them have talked about how insane this process is. Virtually every single critique of this revolves around the legality of it. But even then, while they're talking about is this legal, or will this have a chilling effect on free speech across the board? Once that question is asked, the answer is immediately no, not all. They're going to write a very specific carve out for TikTok alone. It is crazy. Someone said Wall Street Journal did a piece against it. They keep explaining it like ByteDance is groveling to the US. It's disgusting. Yeah, that's the other thing. They're also making it seem as though America holds massive power in this equation. Of course the Chinese are going to succumb to our whim. This already happened. It happened in India. Okay. Yes, the US market is only 17% of TikTok's user base, which is not that significant. But the amount of money that the amount of revenue that TikTok generates for American institutional investors, by the way, very wealthy institutional investors that are American, first and foremost, just so you understand, is a tremendous number. It's not a tiny percentage. The revenue you generate from the American market is massive. Americans are wealthy. Americans love selling stuff. Americans love, more importantly, buying stuff. Okay? Having said that, it is a big hit. As far as the user base goes, when TikTok was banned in India initially, they just found a second market. Okay? They went to a different market and were able to make up that loss. For the United States of America, I'm not so sure if they'd be able to make up that revenue loss, but I don't think they care. 20% of your users isn't small. Well, they India banned TikTok too, chat. And that's, I suspect, was a much larger market than, the American one. But it wasn't large by revenues, I suspect. I don't know, actually. What was the Indian revenue for TikTok India? I wonder if we could find it. But it was definitely a larger user base overall. It is crazy, though. I have a really bad one that was pro-ban for the time. Starts at 57 seconds. Oh, David French
This
on the case for
podcast is
banning
supported
TikTok.
by Thuma,
This is
a
going to make
modern
me
design
lose my
company,
mind,
UMA,
by the
that will
way.
be shut down.
TikTok official, New York Times opinion, where I focus on law, politics, and culture.
U.S. Supreme Court is weighing whether the federal government can ban TikTok if its Chinese owner ByteDance refuses to sell.
The U.S. is arguing that TikTok poses a serious threat to national security and must ultimately find a new owner or be shut down.
TikTok officials say the law violates free speech rights.
David, I really wanted to talk to you about your very strong opinion about TikTok. You've written that you think the app should be banned in the United States because of national security concerns. As a legal expert and as somebody who spent your career fighting for free speech, I'd really love to walk through how you think.
Yeah, I love these free speech defenders being like, no, you don't understand. It's actually really awesome that it's happening this time. It's so frustrating, dude. It's not that complex. It directly contradicts, I don't even care about TikTok's supposed editorial control over its own algorithm, okay? As a platform, it technically is in some way, shape, or form doing a demonstration of speech. But that's not what the real reason is. Part of the reason is because Americans are using it for free speech in a way that the American government can't curb or control or have any say in. And that's very frustrating. What's really funny about this process on at least like with respect to the Red Book, people going on the Red Note or the Red Book, okay, is that people are, all the liberals on Twitter are like chiming in, talking about how, hold on, all the liberals are chiming in about being like, oh, why don't you type in Tiananmen Square or Uyghur genocide on the Red Note? And it's like, dude, this wasn't even a story until America decided to ban TikTok. Like, what is the argument? What is the argument? Like, you're saying like, oh, well, they're doing free speech suppression, so it's okay that we do it too? Like, I don't understand. And they're writing it in English and not in Chinese. And apparently if you write it in Mandarin, it shows up, but it doesn't matter. It's just like, it's so stupid that they're like, that's why we have to ban TikTok. Oh, okay, got it. Like, even the argument that you could make is, well, guess what? You know, Facebook doesn't operate in China, or Twitter doesn't operate in China, or TikTok itself doesn't exist in China. They have a different product, and that product is far more restrictive. Okay, is that a good thing? Why is it that if it's a bad thing, you're only focusing on you're only interested in copying the bad things that China does, never the good things? No punishment for corrupt party officials. No punishment for corrupt corporate oligarchs. No punishments whatsoever for no high-speed rail. No even development. It's very frustrating. They're going to take all of the worst aspects of Chinese governance and be like, oh, we're only implementing those. Well, at least they have the high-speed rails and the lack of free speech. I'd rather take the high-speed rails and then have like Chinese safeguards over my internet, okay? We're doing the censorship and we don't even have the high-speed rails. It's such a stupid argument. Give me the high-speed rail and then we'll discuss whether it's all right if I can call Donald Trump Winnie the Pooh or something, okay? If you give me the high-speed rail, I'm willing to never call Donald Trump Winnie the Pooh, okay? If that's even a real thing. What a shit argument. Oof. Wait, really? What you fail to comprehend here is that if you write pro-Palestinian sentiment enough times on almost every single one of the American-owned and operated social media platforms, you still get boomed. And guess what? On top of that, you don't have high-speed rail. So who wins in that situation? Yeah, go type cisgender on Twitter, talking about free speech, which does private institutions anyway. Oof, China. Dude, this is such a funny own. Like, you do realize that I would probably be fine moving and living in China. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think they're going to do to me if I did move to China? Like, you're not talking about an area that has been absolutely destroyed by American empire at this point. Like, when you say, oh, if you love it so much, why don't you move to Iraq? It's like, well, America fucked it. So it's kind of hard for me to like have a normal, comfortable existence there. But if you're talking about like move to China, it's like, yeah, no, that sounds awesome. You're threatening me with a good time. Like, I would love to do that. It's no different than asking me to move to Japan. Okay. You understand that, right? It's so stupid. But the reason why you have this stupid opinion is because in your mind, it's like, ooh, a scary place. I have more rights in a place like China than like a person growing up in a rural area does, by the way. Like, I have more freedoms in regards to how I can operate in China. Like, the real argument, if you want to be critical of China, is to talk about the two-tier structure that some places that haven't been developed yet have in terms of moving into tier 1 cities, for example. And they're working on it, for the record. That's an initiative that like they're working on. But like, there are legitimate criticisms that you could have. It's just weird to have those criticisms in the United States of America. Okay? It's just weird and hypocritical and stupid. Are you seriously comparing Japan to China? Yes, you're right. China is actually currently in its Japan in the 90s stage. So it's probably infinitely better to live in China than to live in Japan. Yeah. No imprisoning political opinions. Yeah, the right stuff. Oh my God. What is this?
Privileges that we had in America that we don't quite
have. All right,
have
here we are. We've landed once again in this TikTok conversation because so many people are constantly like critical of China, but not in the right ways. Okay. Critical of China in like really silly ways where I just have to sit here and, glaze China. dude, you have to understand, this isn't the 80s anymore, man. You can't just like behave as though, you cannot behave as though China is like, you know, post-famine North Korea, okay? Like everyone has internet, dude. You have internet. You can check it out online. You cannot be this inundated with anti-China propaganda that you are just refusing to recognize that it is a normal country just like any other country, okay? It is functionally no different than like Norway or France, you know what I mean? You would never, if you like, go live in France, dumbass, okay? If you said something along those lines, everyone would laugh at you and be like, why? I would love to live in France. That sounds awesome. You know what I mean? But for Americans, they're so brain rotted where they're like, what? Look, go live in China then. It's so stupid. Like you can even make that argument about Russia, right? Understandable. Okay? Lots of corruption, a state that is completely owned by a couple oligarchs that are controlled by Vladimir Putin, engaging in an unjustifiable war. There's a lot of, there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of disorder. Makes sense. Okay. I get that. It wouldn't be the best. Okay. It wouldn't be great. Also terrible weather conditions in general, but that's like that one thing, right? But making this argument about China is so stupid. The video you have on screen is satirical. No, I know. I love these guys. I watch them all the time. I see them on my For You page all the time.